Here are 8 creative ideas for your fundraising events. Now I know many of you who follow Pride Philanthropy know that we are not a fan of fundraising events because they are the hardest and most expensive way to raise money by far. They're up there with grants and direct mail, but are even worse on the margins. They're a ton of effort and it takes an immense amount of time away from proper fundraising. That said, I know that many of you who work for charities do have events. I'm acknowledging that they do exist, even though they're a bad idea. I know you're going to do them anyways, so I'm gonna help you optimize them by giving you 8 ideas to hopefully raise a little bit more money than you would normally. So we're gonna walk through these one at a time. Number 1 is pre-event promotion. Now I know this sounds super obvious, like yes, obviously I'm gonna promote my event, but you need to talk about what that event is for. So instead of saying, oh, how exciting, we're throwing a gala and this is our event and this is the main thing that we're talking about, we're instead gonna say, our goal is to raise $150,000. And we're gonna take that $150,000 and we're gonna spend it on whatever, XYZ, and this is our goal. So that this is what we're actually trying to do. We're focused on the dollars in the door. We're trying to raise money for this thing. This is our nightly goal between the ticket sales and whatever else we've got going on with auction, not necessarily that we have a gala itself. So we're focused on the why and the impact and what this actually does, not just that it is an event. Sometimes people go to an event and go, yeah, I went to that charity thing, but I didn't even know what charity it was supporting. I couldn't really tell. In the promotion, you're talking about the impact that you want to have and starting that super early for RSVPs for your sponsors, your attendees, any guest speakers that you have, anyone who's lined up to go. We're going to talk about the outcome and the end goal in our pre-event promotion. Number 2 is to make sure you include tiered sponsorship and VIP packages. There are some people who will simply spend more to make sure that they're not getting any FOMO, they're not missing out on something special. And if you're allowing those who have a little bit more means to pay more up front and not have to coax them in with a silent auction or getting them to give at the actual event or focus on the follow-up, we should do those things too. But if we have sponsorship levels, we should make sure we have some really expensive ones, make it so expensive you can't believe someone would actually pay it. And you might be surprised at someone who goes, actually, what can I get from this? What kind of extra experience before the event, during the event, extra seating, private rooms, all the things you can do. Don't have to go super crazy with this, but just having something in place that is tiered allows you to sell some packages that are kind of to the every person to get the volume of people. But if you have someone who can give more and who can spend more and who are gonna automatically spend at the top level, they have something that's already ready for them. You're just gonna make slightly more money for roughly the same effort. So always try to have some sort of tiered something ready to go. Idea number 3, use volunteers for we'll say P2P, peer-to-peer promotion. Yes, we're going to promote the event as the organization, but what we can do is we can get an event committee or our board or our fundraising volunteers or people who are already talking about the organization. Either they work at the organization or they are ambassadors in some way to the community where they have some information about the charity. Try to challenge them to get 5 people each, to sell 2 tables apiece or to get 10 tickets. This is something that in conjunction with the work that you're doing as a staff, them kind of working out and trying to get their friends, their peers, family, and coworkers to go, it's much, much easier. I know this is something that a lot of you do already, and you're like, of course, I use everyone to promote the event. But giving them actual expectations as to how many people we expect each board member or each volunteer to bring, saying, hey, everyone needs to get 3. You don't have to make the numbers crazy, but everyone wants to get 3. Or maybe it's a contest. Maybe you try to see who can get the most, and then they get a prize or they get recognized at the event somehow. Events, though they aren't the best fundraising mechanism, they are a great person capture mechanism. They're a prospect capture mechanism. We're not necessarily going to get a ton of money in one night. Most organizations don't, but you can get a ton of people to one place and talk about the wonderful things that you do and then focus on the follow-up. That works best if you have a bunch of people to show up. And getting a bunch of people to show up is much easier if their peers are asking them instead of you just cold calling around town. You should do that too, but using your volunteers, using your staff, using your leadership, and challenging them to bring a few people a piece is a great way to go. Hey, thanks for checking out our video. If you're getting value out of this but would like something more personalized, you can book 30 minutes with one of our experts to see if you qualify for our support services. Link below in the description. Idea number 4 is a matching gift challenge. So here's how this works. Before the event, you go to a donor and you say, would you please donate $100,000, but we want you to make it a matching gift. So don't give us any of the money yet. We're gonna go to the event, and for every dollar that we raise at the event, you just donate your own singular dollar. So it's 1-to-1. up to $100,000. So there's some level of cap on this. And that way at the event, you can say, hey everybody, tonight and tonight only, every dollar that you give is doubled. So please consider making a donation tonight. If you give $1,000, we have a donor who will match it and automatically make it $2,000. Now, in most cases, the secret is the donor is going to give $100,000 either way, but because it's such an exciting, like, oh, if I don't do this now, it's not worth as much, people tend to give more, and it's very likely that you'll hit this number. So just before your event sometime, go to one of your major donors. If you don't have a major donor, you should definitely start there. We got some great videos on how to do that. Go to a major donor and get a $100,000 pledge. Say, let us use your name, or let us use it as at least as an anonymous matching gift, so that every dollar equals $2, and I can announce that right at the beginning of the night and encourage people to scan the QR code or go online and donate, or donate through our giving platform or through One Cause or whatever, because their gift is doubled for 6 hours only or until midnight or whatever. It gives that urgency and helps you raise more money instantly. Idea number 5 is to personalize your donor recognition. And here's what that looks like. After the event, you want to send everybody something, and usually they'll just say like, dear attendee, or person who went to our event. And then it's like, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much for blah, 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 blah. Do not say this. Instead, use their name, dear name, and try to reference something about their giving history, about one of the programs they supported. If they gave something on the night, include the exact gift amount that they put on there and have that ready to go. Most of these and the bulk of the copy and work that you need to do on these post-event follow-ups, this recognition that you're going to personalize, can be done before the event. I cannot tell you how many times it's happened where you spend all this time and money and effort and energy putting on this big event, and then the real work begins, which is the follow-up, and your staff and volunteer are so tired after working super late on Friday night and all day Saturday and into Saturday night, by Sunday, and then even getting back into work on Monday, they're like, oh my God, I cannot do anything more. I'm so burnt out from this event. We've worked so hard to make this work, and I'm just exhausted. So what you do as part of your event prep, you just make everything early. You leave a couple of blanks like name and donation amount ready to go. And then instead of having to write a bunch of letters, you simply go through and fill in the blanks and then just send those out right away. You can send them via email or mail. If you want, you can hand sign them, totally fine. But you can even do that before the event. If you wrote something on this in the margins that says like, thanks for coming. Again, they don't need to know that you wrote that 72 hours before they actually showed up. We're assuming they're gonna be there. And then just like, oh, they wrote me a nice note. They turned it around so fast. It just gives a little bit of a wow factor right at the end. And you'd be surprised at how well this engages people following the event so that you can then solicit them for a proper donation. Number 6 is to highlight staff and mission stories. Again, one of the biggest mistakes that I see at events, and I unfortunately have to attend a lot of fundraising events, some of them I really enjoy, the ones that are put on well, but I've been to a lot of bad ones too, is we go through the whole night and no one talks about the wonderful good that the organization's doing. Not one person tells a story about someone that we've helped, or a kid who now has access to medical care or school or whatever your charity does. If you're not highlighting these stories throughout the night and making the night about the impact and about the mission, you're missing out. Again, you think people are like, well, they're not gonna be interested in that, they just wanna have fun at the gala. Yes, they do, but the point of putting all of this on is so that we can have some people here whose attention we have, and we can talk about the wonderful work that we do. So highlighting those staff and mission stories, absolutely critical. Do not skip this part. Idea number 7 is to showcase impact. This obviously goes hand in hand with a story, but you want to talk about the numbers of the year in a way that highlights the good work that you do. Like, we've helped 700 patients, or now 65% of the homeless population has access to meals in this area, or now 42 kids have scholarships to blank, blank, and blank. And we want to talk about that. Maybe put some of their names up there, maybe tie that back and pick one of them to have an actual story with. But we want to have, hey, here are the things that we're actually doing impact-wise. And then you turn right around and say, and we hope you consider a donation, because for every $10 or $100 that we raise tonight, we will be able to do X, Y, and Z. Money, direct impact. One of the mistakes that we see made all the time is we talk about what the organization needs. Oh, the organization needs $100 because we have to keep the lights on. It's like, well, what does keeping the lights on do? Skip the part about keeping the lights on and go right to the impact and showcase it right then and there so that people know why they're at the event, why this event exists in the first place, and why we're putting it on. And number 8, referenced this a couple times already, but plan a structured and deliberate follow-up. My goal always is that every single person who attends the event gets some sort of a follow-up phone call or invitation to sit down with me one-on-one for a gift. There would be exceptions, but if you have 120 guests at an event, my goal within the following 2 weeks is to make at least 120 phone calls, though I'll be really tired, and see if I can sit down with half. See if I can sit down with 20% of those people and talk about their support, saying, hey, thank you so much for attending our event. We hope you had a wonderful time. We were able to raise X, Y, and Z, which allowed us to do A, B, and C. I noticed that you directed your gift towards this. What kind of impact did you hope that would have? Or is that something that you wanted to support in the future? Or do you want to know more about that program? And I want to start a conversation about them contributing a non-gift event size donation, maybe a multi-year pledge towards that. You're going to get plenty of no's, but you're going to get plenty of yeses too. This is a great way as sort of a lead capture mechanism or a new prospect capture mechanism. But if you don't do the actual follow-up piece, you don't reach out, I know, because it's the hardest part and it's the thing that people don't want to do. But if you don't do it, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. There are so many donors who would love to hear from you, would love to sit down and share their why and why they're excited and why they chose this charity to go to an event from. But if you don't invite them, they're definitely going to say no. So we just want to focus on a very structured and deliberate, maybe tier them. Start with your high priority, your VIPs first, work your way down. Start with your current donors, work your way down. But I want to have some sort of a one-on-one in-person follow-up that I schedule using phone calls in a best case scenario with everyone who attends. And that starts hopefully with capturing their contact info, but we really, really want to focus on the follow-up. Everything we do that night or that day or whatever should be in the spirit of building this out. Hopefully you found these fundraising event ideas helpful. If you would like additional and more personalized help, you can of course head over to pridephilanthropy.com, click on that Let's Chat button, and you can have a conversation with one of us to see if we were able to help you directly. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.